The 2026 Pittsburgh Pro Guest Posing event delivered one of the biggest bodybuilding moments of the year, and fans immediately started talking about one man above everyone else, Samson Dauda. While the lineup featured elite names including Derek Lunsford and Andrew Jacked, it was Samson Dauda who appeared to completely steal the spotlight with a physique that looked bigger, fuller, and more overwhelming than ever before. Fans had already heard Samson talking about wanting to become an even bigger mass monster heading into the next Olympia season, but seeing him stand on stage in Pittsburgh made it clear that he is fully committed to that vision. According to reports surrounding the event, Dauda appeared around the mid-340-pound range in the off-season, and it translated into an absolutely gigantic look on stage. What shocked many fans most was how massive Samson looked standing next to Derek Lunsford. Normally, Derek's combination of thickness, structure, and round muscle bellies allows him to hold his own against anybody in the open division. But during this guest posing appearance, the visual size contrast between the two was difficult to ignore. Samson's shoulders appeared broader, his chest looked thicker, and his back carried an overwhelming amount of density. Even in a relaxed guest posing environment without contest-level conditioning, Dauda looked like a true modern-day mass monster while still maintaining impressive shape and proportions. Derek Lunsford still looked extremely polished and balanced, showcasing the aesthetic flow and detail that helped him become a two-division Olympia champion. But this guest posing sparked serious discussion among fans and commentators about whether the men's open division could be entering a changing of the guard moment. The speculation comes from the idea that Samson Dauda may now possess the ideal combination for the current judging trends: extreme size, improved structure, and enough conditioning to challenge anybody on the Olympia stage. If he can bring this level of mass while sharpening the conditioning by Olympia time, many believe he could become nearly impossible to beat. What made the Pittsburgh Pro Guest Posing so important was that it did not feel like a normal exhibition. The atmosphere felt more like an early Olympia preview, with fans analyzing every pose, every angle, and every comparison between the top stars. The men's open division is entering one of the most competitive eras in recent history. Between Samson Dauda, Derek Lunsford, Andrew Jacked, and other rising threats, the battle for the Sando Trophy looks completely open. However, after Pittsburgh, one thing became clear. Samson Dauda is no longer just trying to compete with the biggest bodybuilders in the world, he is trying to overwhelm them with sheer presence and mass. And based on what fans witnessed in Pittsburgh, he may already be succeeding. Nick Walker remains one of the most talked about bodybuilders in the world, even without officially announcing his next competition. Every time the mutant posts a new physique update, the bodybuilding community explodes with reactions, debates, and speculation about whether he is preparing for a comeback or simply maintaining his presence online. But according to the host, there is a growing belief that Nick Walker may actually be done competing for the remainder of the 2026 season and has no immediate intention of stepping on stage to qualify for the Olympia. This is what makes Walker's current situation so interesting. On one hand, his physique updates continue to look absolutely outrageous. He appears huge, full, lean, and extremely dangerous. Many fans even believe his recent look rivals some of the best versions of himself ever seen. Yet despite all the hype, there still has not been a clear contest announcement or qualification plan for the 2026 Mr. Olympia. The host points out that if Nick truly intended to qualify this year, there would likely already be a stronger indication regarding which show he plans to enter. Instead, Walker appears to be focusing heavily on training, recovery, controlled progress, and social media engagement rather than aggressive contest preparation. Interestingly, Walker himself recently discussed the importance of downtime and allowing the body to recover instead of constantly competing throughout the year. He explained that real improvements are made during periods away from the stage and suggested that many athletes compete too often, preventing meaningful progress from taking place. That statement immediately fueled speculation that Nick may be approaching 2026 differently from previous years. Rather than chasing qualification points or rushing into another prep, the host believes Walker could be prioritizing long-term recovery and rebuilding after several physically demanding seasons. Over the past few years, Nick Walker has endured an intense competitive schedule, major pressure from fans, coaching changes, criticism from judges, and even injury setbacks. His devastating hamstring injury before the 2023 Olympia forced him out of the competition entirely, and although he successfully returned afterward, many believe the constant cycle of prep and competition has taken a serious toll on his physique and recovery. The host argues that this may explain why Nick's current content strategy is heavily focused on physique updates rather than contest announcements. According to this perspective, the updates are less about signaling an immediate return to the stage and more about maintaining relevance, engagement, and business momentum online. In modern bodybuilding, social media has become almost as important as competition itself. Athletes build sponsorships, coaching businesses, supplement partnerships, YouTube audiences, and personal brands through constant online visibility. Nick Walker understands this better than most. Every physique check he posts instantly creates headlines across bodybuilding media outlets, reaction videos, Reddit discussions, and Instagram pages. Fans continuously debate whether he looks improved, whether he can beat Samson Dauda, whether his conditioning has evolved, or whether he can eventually win the Olympia. That constant engagement keeps Walker at the center of bodybuilding conversations even while inactive competitively. From a business perspective, the strategy works perfectly. He remains one of the sport's biggest attractions without needing to risk another exhausting prep or potentially damaging loss on stage. The host also suggests that Nick Walker's recent physique posts may intentionally create the illusion that he is preparing for competition, even if no actual show is planned. This keeps fans emotionally invested and constantly anticipating a return announcement. And to be fair, the excitement surrounding Walker is understandable. His 2026 Arnold Classic performance reminded many people why he remains such a dangerous competitor. Numerous fans felt he showed major improvements in conditioning and lower body detail compared to previous appearances. At the same time, Walker continues to divide bodybuilding fans perhaps more than any other athlete in the men's open division. Supporters see him as a freaky modern mass monster capable of pushing anyone in the world. Critics argue that his physique lacks the aesthetic flow necessary to win the Olympia title. That split reaction only increases engagement around his content. Whether people love him or criticize him, they continue talking about him constantly. I believe this is exactly why Nick Walker does not need to rush back to the stage right now. His online presence alone is enough to keep his name among the biggest stars in bodybuilding. There is also the possibility that Walker is strategically waiting for the perfect moment before returning. Instead of forcing a rushed qualification attempt late in the season, he may prefer taking an extended off-season to maximize improvements and make a stronger push in 2027. Given the current state of the men's open division, that approach may actually make sense. Samson Dauda looks bigger than ever, Andrew Jack continues improving rapidly, Derek Lunsford remains one of the most complete physiques in bodybuilding, and younger athletes are steadily rising through the ranks. The competition at the top has never been deeper. If Nick Walker does return, he likely wants to return with a version of himself capable of truly challenging for the Sando, not simply qualifying for the show. For now, though, the bodybuilding world remains stuck in speculation mode. Nick Walker keeps posting insane updates, fans keep believing a comeback announcement is around the corner, and bodybuilding media continues covering every single post like breaking news. But the reality may be much simpler. Nick Walker could already be mentally checked out from competing in 2026 and instead focusing on recovery, growth, and maintaining his massive online influence until the timing feels right again. Professional bodybuilder Chris Bumstead recently shared one of the biggest personal updates of his life, revealing that he has officially moved his family out of Florida and into a completely new chapter focused on long-term family needs and future stability. According to the host, this announcement felt less like a simple relocation and more like a major turning point in Bumstead's life after competitive bodybuilding. After spending years fully consumed by Olympia prep, business expansion, travel, and maintaining the pressure of being the face of classic physique, Bum now appears focused on building a calmer and more balanced lifestyle around his family. The timing of the move is especially interesting because it comes during a period where Bumstead has been openly discussing how much his priorities have changed since retiring from bodybuilding competition. Following his legendary Olympia run, he has repeatedly talked about wanting more balance, more purpose outside the stage, and more time dedicated to the people closest to him. The host points out that this relocation seems directly connected to that shift in mindset. Instead of structuring his entire life around bodybuilding, Bumstead now appears focused on creating the best possible environment for his wife and children as they move into the next phase of life together. Family has clearly become a massive part of Bum's identity in recent years. With the arrival of his children and retirement from the Olympia stage, many fans noticed that his content slowly began evolving away from pure bodybuilding and toward lifestyle, fatherhood, business, and personal growth. Chris also mentions that moving away from Florida likely was not an impulsive decision. For someone with multiple businesses, sponsorships, and deep roots in the fitness industry, relocating an entire family requires serious long-term planning. That is why many fans believe this move reflects a carefully considered vision for the future rather than a temporary lifestyle change. Rumors online have suggested that Bumstead's new destination could be Tennessee or the Nashville area, although much of the discussion remains speculative across social media and Reddit communities. Regardless of the exact location, the bigger story is what the move represents emotionally. The host believes Bumstead is entering a completely different era of his life, one where success is no longer measured only by trophies, conditioning, or stage appearances.